What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I have not set my scroll speed because we were just having too much fun. I'm back with some Age of Mythology. The Titans action sporting at the bottom of the map in the blue color, playing as Zeus. His name is Squash. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Loki. His name is Matreiuss. We're watching this game because Squash is playing some of the top players right now with his Zeus. Forgetting to get hunting dogs, though, is a big setback here. Not sure what's going on there with Mr. Clean. Very rarely does he make a mistake like that, but he gets it going, and that's going to slow him down a little bit in this game. You'd have to expect. As the villager's coming over here onto this wood line, he's going for his he's now patented 1 gold first Zeus opener. And what this does is if you get this villager onto the gold mine fast enough, you only need 1 villager on gold in the Archaic Age to get your temple up. However, in reality, it takes a little bit longer, and this is what I've found, what I've been doing this build, takes a little bit longer than the time it needs. You get the temple up, instead of at 402, you get the temple up at like 405, 407, something like that, as we do see Matreiuss moving in onto this location. But it takes a little bit longer to get that gold, that 100 gold you need to get the temple up. So what I like to do is, when I'm sitting at about 70 gold, I just put the next villager over onto gold here, and I build the temple out, and I put the other villager elsewhere, or maybe over onto a wood line, or over onto the food line, or something like that. So we see the house coming down, and all the other good stuff coming through. You might even be able to get away with when you're at 80 gold, put that next villager over or onto this or something. But right now, if I put the villager onto gold here, I would definitely have the gold to chuck the temple up in time. As the villager's going to be moving away. I mean, alternatively, oh no, well, you throw down a second granary up here, and that wood income is going to come through fairly quick. We take a look over at Matreiuss' side of the map here. Interested to see if he did anything unique here. It looks like he didn't. There is a new Loki build, which is taking the top Norse players by storm, Loki and Odin build, where you build a dwarf first, delay your hunting dogs, get yourself the wood income over here as well, while you're getting that gold back in, and that can work out really well for a very, very efficient Archaic Age. However, it's not the difference, I believe, in terms of resources gained isn't really as much as it's all hyped up to be. It's a very, very small amount of bonus resources to gain, and yeah, it's good to do it, but if you don't, you're not really that far behind, in all honesty. You can get a really, really fast advance time, though, with the dwarf start if you have a good enough map for it. So on those maps, it could be worth it as well. But we'll see how things are going to go. Matreiuss just about to advance. Going for a very quick advance time. If we click over here onto Squash's perspective, you can see his temple. He's got 2 villages currently on it. Just not getting it up in time and having to go for a slightly later advance time, going for the 416 advance time instead of the 402. Not the biggest of deals, but in a game as high level as this, where your villages are all on the front over here, oftentimes you're going to be finding yourself having a very, very difficult time here. As you do see a lot of villages now making their way over onto wood here. It looks like Squash is going to go up to 10 villages on wood in an attempt to afford himself 2 military buildings plus the Odysseus and the Jason as soon as he hits the next age. This is definitely possible here. And one thing that I think we've been seeing a little bit by Zeus players recently against Loki, they've been having a little bit of trouble, but they've been shaking things up, and instead of going for a military barracks and an archery range, or a military academy, I should say, and an archery range, they go for double military academy. We'll see if Squash is going to be going for this. I think bolting that early Herser is completely worthwhile here as well. So you see the Katoskabot's going to come in and start shanking away with his little wooden sword there. Matreiuss going to have more than enough. Going to be more than happily pushing that one away. As the Forsetti coming in, the Hearse are going to turn around. There's the advance time there, as we're going to see the heroes coming out. We can see Jason, we've got Odysseus, we've got Military Academy and Military Academy here for Squash. He will have to pull his villagers off of wood here immediately to afford the production of these two buildings. Meanwhile, the villager over here going to get pulled back ever so slightly, trying to keep it nice and safe here as the Jason going to come through and start bashing away at that Herser. The Herser does have the speed here to catch up to that villager, but it will get back into the main base. Meanwhile, over there, we do see the Troll coming in onto this position as the Minotaur going to come over here and try and defend this one. This is some really, really nice pressure which Matreiuss is managing to do in this early stage of the game. And you could just imagine if this was a 402 advance instead of a 416, these military buildings would have come up with no problems here in this matchup. As we also see an archery range coming down for Squash as the military building is going to start pumping out those hoplites here ever so slightly. But Squash in a very, very difficult position right now as he's going to get his units out. We do see the Odysseus going to start getting some good damage done on this position here as the Herser will have to retreat back. Moving over onto Matreiuss' perspective right now, he's getting himself throwing axemen out. He's getting himself the Herser out. 5 villagers on wood, 7 villagers on food. He's going to be delaying that Hall of Thanes ever so slightly as the army going to be moving forward here in this game. We do see the villagers up on this location finishing up with the caribou there as it looks like Squash wants to put some early pressure on. But if you take a look at the population here, it's 32 population for Squash to 43 population for Matreiuss, as Matreiuss is just going to be able to move back into his main base. You can think about just jumping onto the goats for the time being. He's got Aurochs on the backside of his base as well that is going to be more than happily able to walk over onto that location as well. As Squash now coming through to get some pressure in onto the main base here as the wall's coming up to finish up on that location there. And the army just going to be sitting back here looking a little bit scary here as Squash has to pull back. It's 51 population to Matreiuss for Squash's 42 population. As he does decide to turn around, take this fight here, but he's going to be losing a hoplite or two. As we see Matreiuss pulling back his low HP unit there very, very nicely, keeping everything alive thus far. And Squash here is just not able to keep up with that production that he would like to. Right now he's got 11 villagers on food, but he just does not have the population to support these, or income to support these 3 military buildings here at this point. So he's going to be a little bit careful about that one as he will have a lot of idle time out of that town center as well, as his military academies are going to be trying their hardest to pump their units out. As we see the hoplites pulling off of this location over here, trying to take out these units as best as they can. Hoplites going onto the throwing axemen. They're going to be pulling back good micro thus far from Matreiuss, keeping everything alive here. As we do have 3 Toxotes over here, plus the Odysseus onto this position. We will be seeing the gate getting taken out on this position as the Dwarves just going to happily pull off of that position over there. We do see Matreiuss here with only 90 gold in the bank, so he hasn't overgathered gold like a lot of Thor or Loki players like to do, but he's going to take this opportunity to just simply move up to this top location over here and start using his speed to move around the map and kind of defend himself. This is something that Loki players do really, really nicely against the Zeus Athena rush nowadays as a bit of a counter, and it takes a while for the Zeus player to kind of realize that you got to be on 2 separate gold mines at once, and it can be very, very tough to do that. The gold lost moving up to this location really isn't that much in the grand scheme of things. We do see a hoplite coming over here. We'll scout that one out. As the throwing axeman going to come over here and try and deal with that hoplite, get a little bit of return fight. Looks like Matreiuss is just going to say, no, it's all good. Come in, get a little bit of damage here, pull back, potentially pick off this hoplite. Not going to quite be able to, but will pull back his army into the main base. And now Matreiuss can now sit on this gold mine for a hot minute here, as the army now has got itself very, very close to Hall of Thanes. He can't quite fight this army without Hall of Thanes. He's waiting for it as the Herser are going to come in, potentially get some damage done. This is going to be a completely fine fight here for Squash, as Matreiuss doesn't have Hall of Thanes. He's just clicked up to it, going to lose 1 Herser over here, but this will give his Dwarves some opportunity to start gathering gold yet again, as the Herser retreating back on this position, still taking a lot of damage, but this is giving all of the advantage right now for Matreiuss. We also see some Dwarves up on this gold mine as well, as Matreiuss is managing to split up his resources very, very nicely in this game. Squash now sitting at 85 population, still pumping units out. He's easily going to be able to afford those 3 military buildings on this position as the watchtower does go down. The Hursa on this position here going to be turning around at some point. They probably can't fight these hoplites here. The hoplites, funnily enough, they're actually fast enough to chase down these unupgraded Hursa, but now that Hall of Thanes is in, they're going to be able to come back in onto the home base as we see some walls attempting to come back up for Matreiuss. His army going to come through and try and take out these front army here. Squash trying to micro this as best as he possibly can as Matreiuss pulling back and forth here. Looks like the Hursa might be leading the units in onto this location over here where the dwarves are gathering, so he's going to have to pull back off of that one as well here or get some units over there to defend that. Meanwhile, we see the dwarves pulling back off of that location over here into the town center. The dwarves over here going to get targeted down, but there is going to be a handful of throwing axemen over on this location as the dwarf not going to quite fall there. Has a little bit of HP remaining there, 13 HP, as the hoplites will get pushed off of that location there as well. Meanwhile, Squash, very few amounts of resources here. One upgrade I think is very, very useful for Zeus in this matchup, which I feel like a lot of Zeus players neglect, is the Mount Olympus upgrade, and getting that around about this position now is something that is well worth it. The next border call to think about here for Squash is, does he go Heroic Age now, or does he just try and put pressure on and go for a full Classical Age kind of full send kind of strategy here? Those are the options. I think there are 2 options here for Zeus in this matchup, or one option in particular that's not really explored that well, but 2 options in general. So you got, or 3 options I should say. 1 not explored very well, 2 explored very, very deeply. So option number 1, as we see these military buildings or towers going down at the back a lot here, as Squash putting pressure on trying to make that all work, and the Hurts are going to be running around the map. But option number 1 is full send in the Classical Age and try and kill the town center before the Heroic Age comes through with a restoration push. Second option, as we're seeing the villagers getting taken down, the second option is kind of just build 2 military buildings and try and get to the Heroic Age on the back of that. Because eventually you'll have the resources to advance, and you kind of get 115 pop with about a 10-minute or 11-minute Heroic Age. And option number 3 is a much better option, as we do see the town center is about to fall down here for Matreiuss, which will stop any sort of Heroic Age to come through, as Oxcart's also going down. Option number 3 is a... what is it? It's a semi-fast Heroic Age. So you go up to about 80 population, and then you go to the Heroic Age, trying to bait a Flaming Weapons, and then you just underworld away, and then the Flaming Weapons does nothing to you. But it does look like Squash manages to kill the town center, kill the gold villagers, and get the dub in this game here, as Matreiuss just cannot hold on here in this one. He leaves his base for a little bit too long there with his Hursa, and his villagers over here are able to defend. No Hursa spawns over here because Matreiuss's population here was completely coveted or popped, fully popped here. But a good display here of Zeus theory in a way. I think Matreiuss probably didn't need to leave his base just yet, especially if he's not going for like 115 population. There's kind of the 2 options for the Loki player, as well as the semi-fast Heroic and the full population Classical Age kind of Hursa spammage that both work against Zeus really, really nicely. And Matreiuss kind of going for somewhere in the middle and leaving his base open. He's going to completely lose everything to all those hoplites plus the restoration. A really nice game here from Squash. He's going to have to go back to the drawing board a little bit about that build order to fix it up, to make sure he's getting that 402 and not finding any like weaknesses in the early game. But a nice game nonetheless. If you guys enjoyed it, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.